this is just another example, not just of the perfidy, the selling out of the United States by the Republican Party to wealthy interests, in this case, the fossil fuel industry, and their respective billionaires. It's not just that. This is also an example of what happens when the United States Supreme Court rules, as they did in 1976 in the Buckley cases, they did in 2010 in Citizens United, amplifying Buckley, that giving money to politicians, funding political campaigns, funding primary challenges, writing legislation and handing it off to politicians to introduce in state houses, as ALEC does, that all that kind of stuff is not a behavior that can be regulated by law. It is First Amendment constitutionally protected free speech. And since the Supreme Court has said that, it has become basically legal to buy a politician. And, as I have said many times in this program, the best investment you can make right now in the United States is to buy a politician. And it's not just American companies and American billionaires who are buying politicians. In the first hour, I went through that long list of companies that are foreign companies that are constantly lobbying our American politicians. And the Supreme Court says that's fine, too. In fact, in the pushback on Citizens United, in the dissent in Citizens United, and I believe that it was the dissent written by Justice Stevens, as I recall, he talks about, Tokyo Rose. If under this doctrine, Tokyo Rose, who was during World War II, she was this woman who broadcast in English out of Japan telling American soldiers, put down your weapons, go away, you're never going to win, it's a doomed effort, your government's lying to you, we're really not that bad, leave us alone, all that kind of stuff. The Tokyo Rose could have bought her own politician. She could have lobbied Congress under Citizens United. And sure enough, it's true. I mean, you got Saudi Arabia lobbying now. You've got Israel lobbying. You've got, there's no short, everybody's lobbying Congress. It's mind-boggling. So here we have, it's not just, Republicans blocking climate change in Congress. It's an entire political system. The entire Republican Party, obviously, anything that has to do with climate change or guns, the entire Republican Party is going to move in lockstep because they are scared to death of getting primaried. Big money, whether it's big money from the NRA or whether it's big money from the fossil fuel industry, big money is going to come after them. And, on the Democratic side, there's not quite that parallel. Although there's a number of Democrats who are, enthralled to or, wholly owned by banksters at the very least. You've got, and which is why the insanity of our student loans not being able to be discharged through bankruptcy, I'm going to talk about that in the next hour, is still very real. But at least in the Democratic Party, you've got the Progressive Caucus, which Bernie Sanders helped found back in the day. And you've got, some progressive members of the Senate who are, not taking big bucks from industry and as a consequence are able to have some integrity. But, the flip side of that is, some of this just god-awful legislation that's coming along that, it's just a bunch of it. But this piece of the Defense Appropriations Bill, having a rider that says, sorry, Department of Defense, you may not speak about climate change. This is such an indictment of money in politics. Jimmy Carter was absolutely right when he said we no longer have a democracy, we have an oligarchy. And the main feature of it is unlimited political bribery. And this is not how this country should work. And I don't think it's how most people want this country to work. And what's so astonishing to me is the number of people who are signed up for this, who are buying the PR, who are buying the sales pitch. Oh, the whole universe is warming up. No, not really. Oh, yeah, there's no such thing as global warming. It's a conspiracy by some scientists who want to be sure to keep their jobs. Right. Fossil fuel industry has no interest in this at all. Now it's just, and the Pentagon shouldn't be preparing for climate change. Really? I mean, you've got entire communities up in the Arctic and in the north there, including in Alaska, that are being devastated by climate change. Forests where trees are falling over because the soil that they're rooted in is no longer, frozen 3/4 of the year and able to hold them in place. Houses that are sinking. Sea level is measurably rising right now. And as the glaciers on top of Antarctica and Greenland are melting faster and faster, sea level rise is going to increase. Our storms are getting worse. We've got some serious problems coming. And what's the Republicans' response to this? Sticking their fingers in their ears, putting their hands over their eyes, and trying to stuff a gag in the mouth of the Pentagon. This is, morally and politically criminal.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.